Welcome back, YouTube. As you can see, I am elbow deep into a project. If you follow the channel, you already know what's going on here. If you are new to the channel, this is your first time tuning in, this is my 2004 Gallardo, and I have been waiting for parts, collecting parts, saving all summer, come up with everything I need to swap out the exhaust system on this car. And as you guys can see, I am already elbow deep in the project. I've teased a little bit, don't really plan on doing a how-to specifically on this because I'm just kind of chipping away at it as I have time. It's going to be a several day project, but I have dug into it. I've got all sorts of crap removed. Yeah, so we're committed at this point. So far I've got all sorts of junk off. I've already done a video, actually replaced the skeleton behind the frame here, whatever you want to call it, frame, skeleton, or call it a few different things. Did a whole separate video of that, got that all back together, all fresh stainless hardware on it, everything remounted. So this is good to go once the exhaust is done. Like I said, if you follow the channel, you already know what's going on. If you're new to the channel, this is what we're sticking back in it. We got ourselves a fabspeed supersport stainless X pipe system, and I picked up a killer deal on some autopilot exotics test pipes, mostly because I want it loud and I can't afford to replace the catalytic converters with the sport cats right now. So maybe in the future, I don't know, we'll see if I get fed up with this, if it's too much, too loud, get tired of the exhaust smell. Not likely. I mean, the Chevelle stinks. I'm used to it. If you ask me, it's the way the good Lord intended a big high displacement motor to smell. So anyway, I'd show you guys real quick before I dig into this thing any deeper, because now that I've got all this junk out of the way, we finally have the factory exhaust fully exposed. And this is actually the most I've seen it. I mean, the thing's so covered up and buried in there, you really don't have an idea what it looks like until you get it to this point. And these mufflers are absolute massive bricks stuffed on this car. It's crazy how choked out this thing is. I really can't wait to weigh all this junk once I pull it off versus what I put back on the car. Just kind of curious what I'm saving just in weight savings itself. So yeah, this thing is just, I don't know, it's pretty massive. It can't be light. Top view of it. So that's what we got going on here. Still got a few things to pull out. Get the air box here so I can get to the cats. See, they're all oily. I've been soaking these things for days in PB Blaster. Will continue to do so. It's gonna be a little bit before I even try to break those loose. So I got some stuff to remove to fully access everything I need to at this point anyway. But I've got inner fender liners yanked out, all sorts of stuff off of this car. I'll tell you one thing, if you guys haven't worked on your Gallardo yet, or you're thinking about tearing into one of these cars, highly suggest you invest in a good Torx bit set, as well as a hex bit set, because Lamborghini used a mix and match of absolutely everything. I'm constantly swapping back and forth from one to another. They didn't keep anything consistent with these cars. So anyway, I'm going to apologize in advance. I tried to do some before videos of the exhaust sound. I'm going to use a different camera when we do the after videos, because I really wasn't super pleased with the sound quality that came out. So I apologize in advance for that. It is what it is. Either way, it's going to sound 1,000 times better once we get this beautiful stainless fabspeed system back in there. So anyway, that is the update for now. Like I said, I'm going to chip away at it, and we'll check back in once we get more of this junk out of the way. Alright guys, digging in deeper, making lots of good progress here. I'm just about ready to make a pull and get these massive bricks pulled out of here. But before I do that, I just need to get these clamps loosed. And based off of what I have seen other people do, these seem to tend to put up a heck of a fight. So I'll kind of show you my solution, because I just broke these things loose and they popped loose without issue. I was super impressed. We'll see if it works just as well when I get to the other side where the catalytic converter is mounted up to the exhaust manifold there. But what I did is I took some of this right here, this Rust-Oleum rust dissolving gel formula. This kind of comes out like a little gel, obviously, like it says, and I coated it all over the threads here. Let it sit for a little while. I'd come out and agitate it with a small little wire brush, kind of get the corrosion off of these as best as I could. I did that for a solid day, cleaned it up really good, and then after I got a lot of that rust dissolved with the Rust-Oleum, Then I went with the good old PB blaster, and I come out here and hit them about twice a day. Probably for a week they've been sitting out. You can kind of tell they're just kind of saturated in oil, and these things pop loose really nice. So I'm super pleased with that. You guys, if you try it, let me know if it works out for you guys or if I just got really lucky. Time will tell. Like I say, especially when I get to the other side. But get these clamps off, and then I can try and get these massive brick mufflers off of here. Really kind of curious to feel exactly how heavy these things are and see what they weigh. It was kind of important. I really wanted to take care. I didn't even have to put any heat to these. I was going to break out the small acetylene torch and really get these things glowing if I needed to, because I need to save at least 2 of the 4 clamps. The fabspeed system comes with the fancy V-band clamps that will attach here and then attach the lower portion there out towards the exhaust tips. But I haven't bought any more V-band clamps. I was really just hoping to reuse a couple of the factory clamps on the back side of the catalytic converter where it meets the exhaust manifold. So I at least feel good now, even if I trash the other 2 and this doesn't work out so smooth. I'm at least saving these 2 here. So yeah, like I said, let me know if it works for you guys. I'll be curious to see. But he's coming off super nice. So I'll get these clamps off real quick, and then we can get these mufflers off. See if the back end of the car raises a ½ inch or so. These things cannot be light. They are solid. Just like that, popping right on out of there. Super excited. You can see that penetrating oil got down in there really nicely. So now I've got two good clamps that I can reuse. Now we can get those things out of there, hopefully. Oh my gosh. Alright, there's one half. And there go the other. Yeah, those aren't exactly light. Finally, get those giant tanks out of there. Now you got all sorts of room to work. Sweet. So there you have it. I can't wait to weigh those things. Anyway, now I got a little bit more room to dig on in there further. So continuing on. Status update. As you can see, we finally got the factory catalytic converters out of the car. I've got the test pipes installed. Bit of a tedious job. Definitely had to move a few things out of the way. Definitely a lot more room in there now to see and to work without those factory catalytic converters in the way. So that's cool. A little bit of a weight savings. The test pipes are about 6.5 pounds according to my fancy scale. And we had about, what, 22.25 pounds is what the factory ones were weighing. So about 15.75 pound weight savings, just removing the catalytic converters and installing the test pipes. A little bit slow and tedious for sure. One, because I just want to be delicate with everything. Two, I feel like Dookie today. The life of small kids. I am sick yet again. So I'm just kind of out here plugging away today and chipping away at the project. So I think I'm at the point now that I can start working the fabspeed X pipe into place here next. I believe I'll leave the big air box and all that out of the way for now. So yeah, I don't know, making it up as I go. One thing I was really pleased to see once I got these off, I probably don't have enough light out here to show you guys, get a good shot. The factory catalytic converters are actually in really good shape. There's nothing disintegrating or falling apart. I didn't get any particulate coming out of either end of these when I shake them around. Honeycomb in there looks really nice. So I've seen some of these in the forums and other YouTube videos where you guys have torn these things apart and they're just falling apart, disintegrating due to age. So I was super nervous. Everybody says, oh, get those factory catalytic converters out of that car. So I have, but at this point, based off of what I've seen, I'm not super concerned about any sort of long-term damage or anything done. Those are all in really good shape. And I was actually really impressed. All 4 of the clamps came off really nice. My little method for dissolving the rust and just letting them sit with some PB blaster
really worked. They all came off nicely. All the donuts, all 4 of them, were in really great shape. Just everything's in really good shape on this car, thank goodness. So much better than some of the stuff I've seen a lot of you guys battling out there. So anyway, continuing on, grab that X pipe and start working with that bad boy. Super productive day, even though I feel like crud. But here she is in all her glory, guys. The system is officially mounted in the car. It looks phenomenal. I couldn't be happier. Super anxious to fire this thing up. Unfortunately, we're running out of time for today. I'll try and hit this again tomorrow. A few last minute things to button it up. Obviously, gotta get the air box in here. While I got things apart, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean the throttle bodies at this point. So do a little bit of cleaning up before I finish putting everything in there and get this thing fired up. I even have to get the rear bumper on. I just want to get it fired up because I'm anxious to hear it. I'll fire it up for you guys as soon as I can. And we'll do that. But like I said, we got a few other things to button up. And unfortunately, I'm just out of time for today. Huge shout out to fabspeed. If you guys are shopping around for a system, you absolutely get what you pay for with this, like anything else. Top quality, US made product. Fitment is about as perfect as aftermarket can get. They've thought of pretty much everything. There's adjustment all over where you need it. Things aren't just going to magically line up right where you need them to, but it was really minor adjustments to get this thing all in there. And same with the test pipes as well. Autopilot exotics, again, from Aaron and his wife Liz. Super top quality products as well. Everything lined up well. Like I said, hopefully it performs as great as it looks. I can't imagine it not. This should give me the exact sound that I'm looking for and literally the exact reason I bought the first gen Gallardo. So real quick before I shut this part down for today, I'll give you guys the numbers since I weighed everything. So the factory cats weighed in at like 22.25 pounds. The mufflers were like, oh, where did I have it? They were 62 pounds total. You had heat shield and crap like that in there. All the other factory stuff was almost another 10 pounds worth of garbage in there. So the entire factory system came in at 94.25 pounds. So the fabspeed supersport X-pipe system, what little hardware it comes with, plus the autopilot exotic test pipes, came in at a whopping 25 pounds. And I did round that up by a couple tenths, for a total of 69.25 pounds of weight savings in the rear of this car. So that's a pretty substantial difference. Wouldn't be surprised if it's sitting a tad higher. I probably should have taken a measurement or two before I start ripping all that weight out of here. So anyways, like I said, put it away for tonight. I'll see you guys again in the morning. Home stretch. Got a lot of little things to button up and do, obviously, still, but at this point I believe I've got everything installed to the point that I can go ahead and fire this thing up for the first time. I'm super anxious to hear it for one, and I kind of want to be able to just check out the clamps and whatnot. So yeah, I think we're at that point. Here goes nothing. Nicely now. As you guys can see, there's a little bit of smoke all over. If you've never installed new exhaust products, don't freak out about anything like that. I've got PB Blaster all over stuff. You've got new metal and hardware. It's completely normal to have a little bit of that. Final steps of the projects, guys. Just got to get the wheel liners in and we can get this thing fired up and start getting some sound clips. As you guys know, I did the earlier video replacing the rear bumper skeleton. As you can see, everything is lined up perfectly. Just got that wrestled into place. Couldn't be happier. No more loose grills, no more loose exhaust tips. Everything's just as it should be. And nestled right down in there is that beautiful, shiny stainless fabspeed exhaust system. Anyway, can't wait to hear this thing. Can't wait to get it out on the roads and rip it. Just need some dry weather. Anyway, we'll get those wheel liners in, get this little project finished up, and then the part we've all been waiting for, some good sound clips. Stay tuned.
Here we are, guys. No more messing around in the garage. Car's been back together for a little while. We finally got a beautiful, cold but very beautiful sunny day here in the Pacific Northwest. So we are taking her out on her inaugural ride. I can already tell just from getting out of the neighborhood, trying to get it warmed up a little bit. Cold starts in the garage and whatnot. This thing is a whole different monster. This is literally the reason I bought this car. She sounds absolutely incredible. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking. We're just going to try and get some different sound clips, spend a little time just driving, let you guys listen to the sweet, sweet song this motor plays. And this literally is the reason I bought a first-gen Gallardo. So enjoy. Well, there you have it, guys. All the work has come to that. She absolutely screams. I couldn't be happier. I want to drive this car at about 7,000 RPM for hours on end. It just sounds absolutely amazing with the windows down, that V10 just screaming behind your head. Not only does it pop as a bright orange Lamborghini out there in the sunshine, now it sounds like it should. Sounds like you would expect a car like this to sound. For those of you who have been asking, because some of you guys in the forums have already reached out, knowing what I was doing, and asked, so far no check engine lights at all without the cats and the little spacers in there. I was told I don't even need the spacers, but I just threw them in anyway, so I wouldn't know if it would run without them. I was told because it's in first gen, the very early years, you know, 04, 05, it's not as sensitive to not having the cats back there like the 06 up cars. So don't quote me on it. I'm just saying, being in 04, I don't have any check engine lights. I've been driving the car for about 2 weeks like it is now. So far nothing's popped up. Those of you have also, some of you have been asking about the valved exhaust system, what you do with that. As you guys might or might not know, you have some lines that come down to your factory valves that are in there. There's a little T kind of right up center and under here. Just get yourself a vacuum cap assortment, something similar to this. And all I have done is use the 1/8 inch cap, reach right up in there, capped it off. That's all I've done with that. There's nothing special to it. It's cheap, it's easy, and yeah, so far that hasn't thrown any codes either. In fact, since I have it handy, here's what you're looking at right here. So this is what we unplugged right up under there. That little fitting there, the little T that's up there is right where that plug goes. These obviously run down behind the bumper there, and these go directly to the valve. So that's kind of what you're looking at there, and that's where you're gonna cap it. At least that's where it found it easier for me. Every little bit of weight I was able to get off the car, I was trying to while I was back there. And thanks again for watching, you guys. I really hope you enjoy the content. This was a lot of work, definitely a lot of money out of my pocket. Like I said, I'm balling on a budget. But I made this thing work, and this car gives you an absolute eargasm. It sounds so incredibly good. The cameras and the microphones probably don't do this thing a justice at all. It's hard to capture exactly how good this thing sounds. I absolutely could not be happier. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned, like the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with your friends. Stay tuned for more. We'll see you on the next one.